look about you. Some sort of quality that's rare to find. And trust me, I'm never wrong about these sort of things. Can I interest you in a room at the local inn? Look, empty rooms are just bad for business. The upkeep alone costs me more than the place is worth. But I think we can come to a sort of arrangement. And not the sort of arrangement that involves a few drinks, let me be clear about that. I need someone to improve the reputation of my properties. A hero type who people look up to. And I have a feeling about you. You've done something great and are probably on the way to do something greater. Seems like we can help each other here. Yeah, all right. Details. I can see how this might be a bit sketchy, but don't worry. The inn room is well kept, conveniently located. I know you adventuring types wanting a home in every town. This would be a nice addition to your holdings. No catch. I just need someone to freshen up my image. And my gut tells me you're the one to do that. As long as you're not planning on turning it into a skooma den or an outlaw's refuge, the room is all yours. Oh, sure. You can set up some crafting stations, house your pets, display any treasures or trophies you've come upon in your adventures. Hey, you can even set up a target dummy to practice combat. Just don't demolish the place and we're good. Excellent. You won't regret this decision, I swear. Here's the deed and key to the room. Took me a while, but I finally was able to take them back from the last tenant. Required more time in the sewers than I had hoped for, but hey, that's business. Hope the room is to your liking. With your reputation, I'm sure you shouldn't have any trouble with the neighbors. If you do, remember death threats are not the way to go. Had a spot of trouble when my last tenant started sending those out.
Welcome to the hall. What can I do for you? Stars above, yes. Welcome to the Fighters Guild. You should consider joining up. We have a new guild master and a new singular purpose. You look right. Our new guild master is an Argonian, sees all colors. She has us all hunting down the Daedra and their damned anchors. You might have seen them. Enormous chains. Plagues of Daedra boil out to lay waste to the countryside. Hard fights. Ha! Yes, a good question. We train our members in special techniques, and the higher-ups are always looking for motivated members to help with special projects. You never know, you might be the next Yofnir. Then let me be the first to officially welcome you as an associate of the Fighters Guild. Get out there and take the fight to the Daedra.
If you came for crafting certification, I can assume you must be here to learn the craft, yes?
Always good to speak with another knowledge seeker. Guildmaster Vanus will be pleased. We're book hunters of a sort. We seek out new information, capture it in our libraries, and make copies for distribution across Tamriel. The Guild doesn't care about battlefields or boundaries, just knowledge and the acquisition of new tomes. We provide training in unique spells and abilities only available to members. And from time to time, projects crop up for those with an adventuresome spirit. You may end up... Excellent. You are now a student of the Mages Guild. Every book you find will now earn you reputation in the Guild.
Frigert knew he should have brought more mead.
I expected sorrow and despair, but the situation here goes beyond even my prophetic inklings. On the surface, yes, but peace through tyranny provides false harmony. Euraxia uses fear and threats of violence to keep the Khajiit in line, making them second-class citizens in their own province. It appalls me to think Euraxia and I are related. It would be better if I showed you. Follow me, and I'll demonstrate the true depths of... Very well. Have you ever visited a Rimmen workhouse? They treat the Khajiiti workers worse than slaves. It's that building over there. For most of Rimmen's Khajiit, it's the only job available to them. The workhouse serves to snare the poor and the destitute, those who fall behind on their debts. They come here to find employment and earn a decent wage, but the costs deducted to pay for room and board leave them worse off than they were before. One of the first things Euraxia did after declaring herself queen was to institute tariffs and fines that apply only to Khajiiti citizens. No one else needs the workhouse. The Rimmen Khajiit? No. Any complaints incur fines for causing a public disturbance or some other inane ordinance. No one wants to risk falling even further into debt. It's ingenious. Monstrous, but ingenious. Oh, Euraxia is clever. She pays the Khajiiti, and the workhouse isn't technically a prison. On the surface, it appears to be a place that helps society's unfortunates, but underneath, it's slavery without any of the uncomfortable trappings. Now, let's visit the Rimmen marketplace. Take a look around. Business seems to be thriving, but appearances can be deceiving. It may be hard to see, but the Khajiiti merchants struggle to keep their stalls open, while the less bestial business people rake in the profits. Euraxia would have you believe it's a matter of work ethic, but we know better. Unfairly doesn't begin to cover it. Khajiiti merchants must deal with high tariffs, extra inspection fees, costly licenses. Euraxia's squeezing them for every piece of gold imaginable. She even instituted a fur tax. On the surface, it seems reasonable to make Khajiiti pay for extra inspections to ensure their fur isn't getting into the products they sell. And while they do shed, it's just another way to discriminate against the rightful citizens of this land. Come along. I want to show you the improvements Euraxia made to the palace walls. See the trebuchets? Notice how they're aimed into the city below. See how the siege weapons sit upon the walls? When it comes right down to it, you're looking at the secret of my half-sister's success. How else do you think Euraxia maintains order and keeps the Elsweyr defense force at bay? She declared publicly, and has repeated often, that any attempt to liberate Rimmen will see her unleash the full fury of the siege weapons upon the city. If Euraxia can't have Rimmen, then neither can anyone else. She'd destroy the city in a heartbeat if she thought she was in danger of losing control. Of course, she tells her non-bestial subjects that only the Khajiit districts are targeted. Absolutely not. But the lie makes her supporters feel better. The Khajiit know that even a peaceful protest could result in the destruction of Rimmen. So far, no one has dared to challenge Euraxia's will in this matter, and for good reason. When we get to the palace, let me do the talking. As the Elder Tharn, I'll demonstrate my dominance over Euraxia and negotiate a cessation of hostilities.
Here come Queen Euraxia's guests now.
I don't like the looks of these meddlers. I say we feed them to the dragons and be done with it. I know you. I saw you through the soul shriven's eyes. You were with the fool who thinks himself the shining knight of Sirad. If only he knew what a monster I was. The horrors of Cold Harbor pale before my heinous deeds. I am my own head, yes. I am the hero of Sirad and the villain of Elsweyr, the champion of the Third Nedic massacre and the dark knight they call the Betrayer. Of course not. I am the genuine article, much more real than a disembodied soul given shape in the flesh cauldrons of Oblivion. But why do you presume to talk to me? I have killed greater beings than you for much, much less. Came to that conclusion by yourself, did you? That's what they call me. There's a certain ring to it, but I always preferred my more grandiose titles. Champion, Slayer, Dragonknight. When I am made whole, the cats will pay for what you did to me.
So you're Abner Tharn's bodyguard and valet. Not what I expected. I assume you want to follow your master into the Queen's inner sanctum, huh? I'll allow it. But first, I want to gauge the measure of your marrow. I am Queen Euraxia's chief necromancer. You may call me Zumog Foom. The other grave callers answer to me. And this is my familiar and confidant, Sir Cadwell the Betrayer. Ah, yes. The Betrayer saw you when it looked through the soul shriven's eyes. The creature you know is a pale shadow of the dark knight that once walked these lands. I exhumed his remains and reanimated him. Well, his head, it was all I could find. My actions don't concern you. I just wanted to meet Abner Tharn's lackey and determine if Queen Euraxia had anything to fear. The answer is quite clear. Your insignificance rivals that of the soul-shriven fool, which makes you eminently forgettable.
Now about the rest of my body, O pestilent one.
Your insults won't hasten the
Presenting
process,
Abner
betrayer.
Tharn, Grand Chancellor and Overlord of Nibene, Imperial Battle Mage of the Elder Council, and Patriarch of the Tharn Dynasty, and his bodyguard.
Ah, half-brother. Your arrival, it's so unexceptional.
Pretending to be a queen isn't-
Hush, Abner, you bore me. Bodyguard, you look interesting. Come talk to me.
You heard her. Good luck.
My sources indicated that my half-brother's associate was somewhat taller. Oh well. Now, why in the world should I even consider negotiating with members of the losing side? A warning? How thoughtful. You do know that I defeated the Khajiit army and took control of the Rimmon throne? I am no one's puppet, I assure you. But why do you suppose I have anything to do with dragons? Sweet talk? From an associate of my half-brother? I'm flattered. Shall we retire to the dungeons? We'll engage in the most interesting activities, you and I. You'll positively beg for mercy right up until the end, and then I'll give you to Foom. Do not attempt to sway me with your silver tongue. Mulamnir and I have a special relationship, an understanding. The dragons will secure my hold over Elsweyr, and there's nothing you or my pathetic half-brother can do to stop them. Enough! Zumog Foom, what news do you bring?
The Desert Wind Adaptorium has fallen. We move against Riverhold on your word.
Then the word is given. Now, half-brother.
Treachery? How could I ever have anticipated this?
Guards, take them to the dungeons.
I think not. Well, I suppose that could have gone better. I prepared for Euraxia's probable betrayal. Unfortunately, my teleport spell wasn't quite able to penetrate the palace wards, so we wound up down here, in the palace sewer. We heard two things of note. First, Euraxian forces have invaded the Desert Wind Adaptorium for some insidious purpose. And second, my vile half-sister ordered an attack on Riverhold. One thing at a time, my companion, one thing at a time. I need to recover my strength after teleporting us into this skeever hole. I'll need your help to get out of here. Then we can deal with both Desert Wind and Riverhold.
Restrain the traitors!
The way out, finally. I can't abide another moment in this stench. Well, that's an experience I won't be adding to my memoirs. We'll separate here. Make it harder for Euraxia's lackeys to follow us. Now. Things actually turned out better than I expected. We know that Euraxia wants something from the Desert Wind Adeptorium, and we know she's about to launch a counter-strike against Riverhold. That's not exactly true. If my power wasn't depleted, well, let's not digress. I'll go to Riverhold and warn Garishri. We'll make sure the city is ready for the attack. Meanwhile, you find out what's happening at the Desert Wind Adeptorium. Adeptoriums serve the same function as monasteries in other parts of Tamriel. Desert Wind and its adepts are dedicated to the Jean Kaj, literally the Order of the Desert Wind. Note that it has numerous entrances, in case the main door is blocked.
It is time for this one to share lore about Alkosh, the Dragon King of Canada.